Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odesa, and we are starting our briefing day. Our current guest is Natalia Kushnerska, project lead of Brave One Defense Tech Development Support Cluster in Ukraine. Good afternoon, Natalia. Can you hear me? Good morning. Yes, I can hear you well. Natalia, can you share details about your presentation in Tallinn and what was the conference? What were the results? That was the first international conference where I participated. Our task was rather simple, is to present our Brave One project and also to share that this platform is the only entry point to cooperate with the international companies and organizations. And we had one more objective, is to understand the issues, the barriers, and the willingness of international investors who would like to invest in Ukraine. As far as I understand, cluster collects startups and technologies in defense and security, and looks then for investors abroad. Let me just explain what is Brave One. This is the only defense security cluster in Ukraine, which was founded by the Ministry of Digital Transformation, Ministry of Defense, General Staff, Ministry of Economy, and the National Security Council. The task is to unite everything which is related to defense tech in one place, is to respond quickly to the existing needs, and also to provide support in all technological developments, which are priorities for the front line. So our task is to help everyone working with defense technologies. What developments, solutions do you already have in the portfolio of the cluster? UAVs, defense systems, etc. There are 12 priority areas for defense and security that includes not only UAVs, but also the connection systems, radar systems, surface drones and platforms, geolocations, artificial intelligence, demining, etc. So we collect projects for any area of defense technologies. As for our focus and our main tasks is to find what is already there in Ukraine, not only as a physical result, but also in the form of concepts, to show this to our military, for the military to say us what is needed and what is not, and then for those projects which are needed, to provide support and to scale it up, and also for them to be introduced in the combat zone. We have more than 200 applications that were submitted through our website. More than 50 of them have been already scrutinized by the military. If they have received a high score, they were directly sent for further processing. If the score is average, then they have received information about what should be improved. This can be additional testing, additional improving of the characteristics, etc. And if the concept has a low score, then they are sent to the business scrutiny. This is the second chance for the solution. Perhaps they are not the priority for our military, but anyway, these are good ideas and decisions, and we do not want to lose them. So more than 200 applications and around 50 have been already approved by the military. Am I right in understanding more than 50 have been scrutinized? And more than half of them have received confirmation from the military and some of them have been submitted for further procedures, which are envisaged by the Ministry of Defense to allow operation and activities, and others have been sent to additional improvements. As far as I know, all these expertise procedures always was very difficult and long procedures. And I know some technological solutions that took years to be confirmed through the procedures, bureaucratic procedures existing in the ministry. Does your defense cluster accelerates the process? Yes. This is one of our tasks, actually, for all the efficient solutions to be quickly approved through the procedure. Our focus are Ukrainian solutions. Secondly, we have created fast track in the Ministry of Defense. This is a quite quick procedure that takes around 1 month. And our task now is also to follow up the projects, follow up the solutions for them to be quickly approved. And we have support of all institutions which are needed for the process, like the Ministry of Defense. And we also serve as a communication intermediate between the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Economy, General Staff, etc. We understand their needs, and we understand what other institutions should be involved in the process. We understand that the state now is most interested in the developments in these areas. As far as I understand, that the approved projects are secret information, or can you share with us some details about technological know-hows? This is quite a sensitive information. That's why we will be able perhaps share this information later. So these are different types of robotized systems, UAVs, communication systems, different areas. But we can say that some of the solutions are already used by the military in the combat zone. We know that after the 24th of February last year, a lot of Ukrainian solutions were adopted by the military. And the Brave One task is to build up the bridge between the military and the developers. A lot of companies started working to achieve our victory, and they cover different technologies in different areas. But then they were a bit afraid of the bureaucratic procedures to be adopted, to undergo all the procedures, to go through the state procurement. And a lot of teams, a lot of companies were at a loss. They didn't know how to work with all those procedures. That's why our task is to be a bridge, is to be a mediator between the state, including the Ministry of Defense, and different institutions and stakeholders to make these projects really. Natalia, could you repeat the last sentence? Because we have some internet connection problems. So we've started communicating with the investor, and so this is the entry point when it comes to cooperation with investors. Different international funds to invest in Ukrainian companies, but they don't know how to do this. They don't know what companies can be invested into, and they want to be assured. So we're also sort of at the entry point. We create catalogs, we communicate with international investors to discuss the cooperation option, remembering, of course, about important defense issues. We have a question from our colleagues. Are there big companies that are ready to invest in Ukrainian developments like Lockheed Martin, Rheinmetall, etc.? Of course, but Rheinmetall have a success case with the Ministry of Defense, with the military sector of Ukraine. Some of the funds have already entered the Ukrainian market to create their defense accelerators here. And we know that Mikhail Fedorov, together with Mr. Vanderville, signed the cooperation agreement, and the NATO is ready to support the development of Ukrainian defense solutions. So this is one more track of our activities to support Ukrainian companies. Perhaps could you share some companies that showed interest after the presentation in Tallinn, where you presented the initiative Brave One? We had several tasks there, is to establish connection, is to establish contact, to understand their needs, to understand barriers, and to understand the extent of their willingness. And we have started building up the system of our cooperation. We understand that this is a very sensitive issue, the issue of security. That's why we cannot work with all companies. We can share our catalogs with a limited number of funds. That's why we need to define the funds, their structure, with which we can work. Several calls have been planned to discuss these issues on this week after the conference. If we leave behind sensitive information, how Ukrainian technological solutions were assessed there, because I know that there are professionals there who are able to properly assess the know-hows of Ukrainian engineers and constructors. Everyone understands now that Ukraine has a significant benefit now. This is the combat zone and the possibility to test our solutions very quickly and quickly improve them to make them efficient. Moreover, Europe and the whole world do not preoccupied with defense as it is. That's why we are example that they should not be afraid of defense sector. And now we know that in our world, the technologies affect the warfare, and they can respond asymmetrically to the numbers in terms of the resources of our enemy. And this is not the future issue. This is here and now, and we need to develop this now. Am I right in understanding when I say that the solutions, the concepts in your catalogs are invested by Ukrainian investors, and that you only are going to start negotiations with the international and foreign investors? There are different solutions. We started our activity just a month ago. That's why it is very difficult for us to say that we have involved foreign investments because the work is ongoing. There are a lot of Ukrainian solutions with different investments, including international investments that develop their products. But we cannot speak about that this is the result of the systematic activities of Brave One. This is our task. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us today. And I'd like to wish to be successful to you and to Ukrainian developers. Hopefully, we'll be able to invite you later when you will be ready to share more information, if it's not sensitive information, of course. Thank you. Thank you, and have a nice day. I would like to thank our audience. The next briefing will take place at noon. Please stay tuned.